kind of start in the middle just so I can kind of get some even distance, but you can start anywhere you want. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Workshop This. Hi, I'm Robin McClendon, and welcome to my studio. Today I thought what I would do is show you how I make sheet protector stencils, like literally. This is something I did like over 10 years ago when I first started jelly printing. I was learning how to use the plate and really formulating a lot of my more iconic techniques that really are more true to the way I create my art and the way I like to express myself in printmaking. And I remember wanting to use sort of stencils, but I never found any that I really liked that were on the market at the time. And, you know how I feel. I like to make work that looks true to my own aesthetic. And that's why I teach you all so much how to do all of these really neat techniques so that you can really hone in and make all of your work really look true to who you are and how you want to express. And it's okay to use generic stencils and things like that out in stamps and stuff. No, that's not a problem. But when you can infuse a lot of your things in with some of the generic stuff, then your work can really take on a life of its own and really be distinctive. So today I'm going to show you how to cut this. But before we actually cut it, we're going to do a background. And so it can be drying, and then we can come and do this stencil on top. And I'm just going to show you really very quickly and easily how that works. So just some regular copy paper, a stencil with some mark making left over on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a number of colors because I want to just make a quick multicolored background. Spring is here, so Robin is going to be using some colors. So what I normally do is I'll start brayering out where the translucent colors are before I start kind of mixing it in. Now I don't really want to over mix it because I really want this background to just be vibrant. So I'm just really taking it light to mix it in a way that it won't over mix the paints. Okay, so let's get this down. Since I have a good amount of extra paint, I'm gonna pull another one. And this is going to be our background. So this is a nice way to get a multicolor background going right from the start. Okay. Yes, yum, look at that. And some of that black that was underneath there released, and some more is going to release. So that one is good. So I have more paint on here. I'm going to just do a real light rolling because I don't really want to disturb the color that's underneath there. I just want to get a little bit more movement so that we can pull this up. Now, we've talked about push and pull before in this series, so that's just what I did. I just wanted to get enough paint distributed again. So I was doing a really light movement. So we're just kind of pulling that paint nice and even over our surface. Because remember, the pushing is where you're just getting a lot of color distributed. So like in this one, the pushing would have been when we were just moving that blue, moving these colors around, and then coming back with the pull just like evens everything out nicely. So let's see if we can get that black. And actually, this one has a few of those peaks and valleys I'm not always crazy about. So a lot of times what I do is I just take it and turn it upside down on my work surface and see how much paint we got off there. And what it does is it evens out your work so that you don't have too much paint. That looks great. And then it has more of a monoprint look to it versus a painted look. Now here, the bit of the black that was down there in that pattern has pulled now. So see, we got that second layer with the stuff that was already on the plate and along with the paints that we had down there. So these are two really cool layers that are ready to go, nice and quick, like for our stencil. Now what you want to do is just get a sheet protector, and if you can kind of get the thicker one, it's a little better. Sometimes the cheapos are really, really thin, and if they work, it'll just take a little bit working with them to get them paint built up on them so they're a little bit more stable. But I like to get these thick ones, and then what I do is I just fold. I'm kind of accordion folding back and forth, you know, like we used to do with those old, when we used to make airplanes in school or fans. Let me see. Let me just do it this way. So half. Do it in half, and then do it in half and half again. And that'll give us our sections. So the first thing you want to do is I kind of start in the middle, just so I can kind of get some even distance, but you can start anywhere you want. So you just kind of want to make half moons, semicircles, and I really try to make them all different kind of shapes, because I want, you know, this stencil to look very organic. So I'm not really trying to make them very even circles. If you happen to want to do this and you want your circles really even, if you have a really sharp hole punch, or, you know, like one of the circuits or one of those types of machines, you can also just put this in there and cut it that way too. So I'm going to get like smaller one here, because I really want this to be really nice and organic. And we're cutting through several layers here, so just know that. Okay, so that's there. And now I have this piece folded here, so let's go ahead and we'll get some different circle shapes here. We're just going through 2 layers. But what's cool about it is that that's how you can really alter your shapes. And literally, it's just this simple. Okay, so here are our, so we have our 3 rows. And so you get these really neat organic shapes, depending on, you know, how you're cutting them. So you can see that there. So let's go back and get our plate. You can hold on to these and use these as masks. So we'll get our plate and we'll go ahead and print this. All right, so we're back. I'm going to use a white. I want to use a matte the matte acrylic in the white. I really want it to be dense. The zinc white that I have, you can see, is a really translucent white, because you can see those bars through it. So it'll just show up a little more faint. And that's okay if you want, you know, a little less color, because a lot of times I will build it up. But if you want it to look, you know, a strong white, then I'm going to use this particular one, because this one will work well. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this white down. I'm going to roll it out. We're pulling this color right now because we're spreading it out over the plate. So, you know, once you've got it all spread out, you know, then that's kind of when you're starting to pull it, where you're just getting, you know, just very light layers and a nice even. So let's go ahead and lay this down on the plate. And then get your background. I'm going to lay it down full on, but you could just take a piece of it, you know, and I'll show you on that other one. You can just take sections, you know, you don't have to obviously do the whole thing. So just make sure where those holes are in the stencil that you got some good contact there. So always just kind of really press in there good. Okay. And that way you get this really cool, look at that really cool pattern. So now that pattern is there and it's ready to continue to work on top of. So this would be like my second layer. And because I have that there and I don't have anything really ready for it, but I want to get that paint up, my piece of paper that I've been off brayering on, why not? Because then that color of the brayer will kind of peek through and I could keep on printing on this piece of paper that I've been brayering off on, or I could coffee and tea stain it at some point to really just get that white paint to pop and still have a great piece of paper to work with. So we're just going to pull that up. And so right here, you can kind of see where, you know, you can see where the white holes are. So some of the paint that was down there just from brayering off kind of is peeking through. And this is a piece that stained would be fabulous, especially with a lot of white on it when you go to stain. So now let's do, so I'll show you how I would take, maybe we'll take this section here and just put a little bit of black down. So I'm going to use the carbon black, which is a strong black, because we can't see those little lines through it. So we know that it's a good one. And I'm just going to do just this one section here. And I want to get it here. So I'm going to flip it so that, whoops, got to put the stencil down. That would be a good idea. Just make sure there's no paint coming through anywhere that you don't want that to show. Move over it a little bit, yeah. Okay. So to get that stone pattern, I want to get it right there. I'm going to flip this over. And then that down. So that way you can also get these really cool, just, you know, now you can start building up a lot of different pattern over these papers. So what I like to do when I use these type of stencils is I just keep on using them. So I'd come back and maybe use some other stencils, and then I would come back with this again and maybe use it in a, see how cool that is. And because some of that white was still there, we almost got that like a drop shadow, which is really cool. So then that kind of pattern is here, and you can just keep on building up just using this stencil. And then you can finish the top layer with one of the translucent metallics like the Martha Stewart and the champagne, something like that. So just really have fun making these, make different circles and squares and whatever shape you can make and can think of. And then just come back and just start layering them. And you just really get this really neat bit that you could just, you know, tear bits of this and use it as a collage element. It's great as a place to start on a page in a book. But yeah, have at it with these sheet protector stencils. They are the best. All right, take care as always. It's a lot of fun hanging out with you here on Workshop This. Any questions, comments, things that you'd like me to work on in the future and show, you know, my techniques, I'm happy to do that. In the meantime, please thumb up the video. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe so you'll get the notification every Wednesday when I do a segment of Workshop This. All right, take care. Bye-bye.